What you see here today is going to impact your life from next 3 to 6 months all the way up to next 2 to 5 years. And this change would be permanent for a lot of human beings who don't understand what is happening with your finances. Now, your finance most likely is tied up with the overall economy. And if you understand the overall economy, now you have a better chance to survive or sustain and then thrive. But if you don't understand these, now that's going to take a huge hit on your purchasing power, on your assets, or any savings which you have. Because on the other end of this is a big plan to reduce your purchasing power and put you in that place where you're completely relying on the government. What they give you is your only hope. Now, if you are that one guy who just look at one source of income and say, I'm happy with it, you may have to double check on your potential, your earning power. Can you diversify that? Most likely, yes. So think about that because this has changed so much. And with this happening and the job layoffs just going up, next big thing is going to be people without power to buy anything. Now, if you actually go look at the world right now, it's not just one country we are talking about. It's different nations across the globe. When you look at these, you should be alarmed because this for me is like, okay, that is a huge number. Now, considering the GDP, it's not that big. It's still 50%, but it's not big. When I say that, understand this. The household debt in South Korea is like 100% of the total GDP. Still, it's just 1.6 trillion. But that's the size of the GDP. Here for US, the size of the GDP is like 30 trillion and US 50% in debt just for household debt. So your mortgages, your credit card, all of them are kind of at the verge of pushing to the downside because the interest rates are going to go higher. And a lot of them did not account for this particular factor because they never thought that's coming. But right now with the jobs number and the inflation at the peak, you can look at another 75 basis points hike. So if that actually comes in, that does mean that a lot of people who are relying completely on one source of income is going to again get hit hard. They're now cornered already. So make sure you read these kind of books. Put yourself into that chair where you can take control of your life. Now, it won't happen in a day or two because the world is pivoting to a different direction and we can all see that. Right now, if you are in dollar, okay, look at what's happening with dollar, look at the different asset classes. And when you see institutions moving to a new asset class, which is bottoming out from a huge correction, now you can see a ton of upside. Now, on the other side, when I talk about this, it's not just me making up a story. Look at this. This is human beings paying the price because a lot of politicians and those who were governing did not understand money. They did spend a lot of it. Now, when the time comes to pay it back, they cannot. So what they're doing is they cannot afford to subsidize more energy price and the prices are going up. Now, it's not just in one country, right? This does look like same, but it is the same in different countries right now. People cannot afford proper food. They have to cut to 1 or 2 times a day. They are now having hard times to keep up the lights in their family. This is happening all around the globe. Now, we just saw Sri Lanka, right? We just saw Panama. We just saw Ecuador. Now it's Bangladesh. Different countries around the globe are having same issues. Now, what does all of this boils down to? Now, Cuban is one of the best guy I admire, but on this particular point, I don't agree with him. Now, this point is like, okay, you really don't understand both the project or you're just focused on one because you are heavily invested in one, right? So if it's me looking at this, I completely agree with Gentle Ink on this one. Shout out to this guy. Because this ignorance Now, understand, this is not about XRP. Don't call me an XRP Maxi or Cardano Maxi, right? This is about the utility. And when I look at a meme coin and then like an asset like Cardano, which is changing the space, this doesn't go well. So if you are in the space right now, looking at this asset class, understand you have a massive opportunity to make money. So a lot of people on the other end are going to get hit hard because the interest rates are going to go up and they have money in the bank, and that money is going to be depreciating, right? So when you're looking at this, price pressure is still broadening out. Now, you may actually ask a lot of questions, but understand this. One of the main part of the inflation was due to the supply chain issues. Fine. Right now, it is easing. And at the same time, you have to understand inflation numbers are lagging numbers, and Fed doing another hike like this is going to hit a lot of these delinquencies, which we just talked about, right? Not everyone can still afford to pay higher interest rates on all these mortgages, all these debt. So most of them are going to go homeless, bankrupt, and that number is going to be so bad. And if you want to be out of that, don't spend on entertainment. Now, a lot of people really like entertainment for time. They take their time and pay with the time, free money, right? You don't need to pay Facebook, Instagram, and all those things. You pay your time. Now, use that time to make money. If you don't have money, work more. Find something to do and work more. Otherwise, if you already have money and you're spending a lot to just remain entertained, now, if you are that billionaire, it's completely fine. You can do whatever you want. But if you are the normal guy who's trying to take your standard of living to the next level, make sure in this asset class, you have opportunities and you seize that. How do you seize that? You look at the asset with fundamentals and at the right price. If it's already 500x, 1000x up in the cycle, maybe that's not the best choice. But if you still see that opportunity there with the correct pricing of that asset compared to the value, that's where you should be. Now, this is really going to change next 3 months, next 6 months, next 2 to 3 years. Everything is going to change. A zoomed in view kind of shows you we are close to a breakout, and that break to the upside move is going to indicate you that you are going for a massive ride. That's not just in one asset. It's inside one asset class. Stock market is also going to respond positively because money is being printed. Now, at this time, you would be asking like, okay, you just say there's going to be hardships. I'm correctly putting that. But what this means is like, okay, Inflation Reduction Act. Anyone with common sense know that if you put more money into the market, that's more demand for the materials, whatever it is. And then automatically the price goes up. But on the other side, you have the supply chain crisis easing. So that may reduce the push to the upside. If you observed 0.5% hike, now you may see 0.2, but that still is a move to the upside. So all this money is going to end up in the financial assets. And if you are there, it's going to help your purchasing power. Now, you may need to actually break these down and look at different assets and understand like, okay, what they are doing. Because right now, a lot of assets are breaking higher based on our breakout calls and they are moving towards their targets. Now, we do this on a regular basis, putting the breakout calls and highlighting where these are actually breaking out. Now, this gives you an ability. And if you want that ability on your side to make money, you can look at the Patreon. The link is given in the description below. I covered a lot of the stuff which I wanted to show you as the intro itself, because that part is really important. Now, it is to understand what crypto market is showing you, right? So let's dive into that. So before that, welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where we discuss crypto and science behind investing regularly. So guys, right now when you look at the market, yes, you do see a lot of assets slowly trying to move back up, and some of them which actually moved up last day, slowing down. Now that's how the market works. It's a cycle, right? Everything moves up and then corrects back down and trend in one direction. So if you are here this is your trend, and you are slowly breaking back to the upside. As you do this, ask this question to yourself: are you placed in the market? I'm not saying take everything and put it in the market. I'm saying don't keep everything outside the market. That reduces your potential to hit these targets. Now, you kind of really know that this is going to break higher. And as this break higher, you are definitely going to look at this resistance. Now, that's doubling your money. Simply put that into that perspective, it's doubling your money. And if you're willing to look at that, it kind of shows you in a macro sense like, okay, you doubled your money, but right now we are going higher. And as you go higher, you look at the general market and you're like, okay, Bitcoin is doing something which it has done before. There can be a little bit of consolidation, which can be good for the altcoins, which we are right now observing in the altcoin market, that a lot of coins are slowly moving back up. Now, yes, we are heavy on XRP, but that doesn't actually mean that all the other opportunities in the market are being neglected. We don't do that. We look at other opportunities, and all these breakouts, which are happening right now, we had our eyes on and the calls on. You get the chance to make money. Now, if you are still there looking at hourly, daily, and getting confused, take a little bit back, right? A little bit step back and look at this like, okay, at least a week, and try to understand, okay, are we trending higher? If so, don't be that bear. A lot of people are going bearish, saying this is a fake rally, and this may completely impact your life, completely impact that opportunity cost, which a lot of them would be kind of saying, okay, I shouldn't have done that. So instead of having that regret, having the opportunity in your hand is better. Now, it can be $100, it can be $1,000, it can be $1 million, depending upon where you are in that financial stage in your life. And if you are starting this out, learn from the market, and it's going to give you that impact. Now, as you go to look at the Bitcoin dominance, right now the Bitcoin dominance is slowing down, you're going down, and that's a good news. As the Bitcoin dominance slows down and goes down, as we just talked, altcoins are going to gain momentum. And as they gain momentum, you need to look at how many of them are close to a breakout, how many of them are breaking higher. Now, it can be on a short term, you're looking for next 1 or 2 weeks, or it can be medium to long term. You're like, okay, I don't have time to do this in that way. I'm going to be a little bit risk averse. I'm going to try to give time on my side and reduce my risk so that my odds of making money increases. Now, if you zoom out and look at this, you always have this run up followed by a heavy drop. And when you drop, if you are in the right corner of that and enter the market, double down in that market, now you bounce back higher. Now, there are times when you are at the moving average and bounces. There are times when you're way below the moving average and bounces. So those two give you entirely different opportunity. Now, you can say this is a long wick, so we'll neglect that and take this here. You still see a huge difference. So put that into perspective. You are looking like, okay, this is the moving average. The price was around 50% below the moving average. So right now you take the moving average and the price, it's around 25% down, and you take the actual bottom, you have 40% down. Now, if you have doubled down somewhere close, now taking that into account kind of takes you all the way up to $4, $5, which is putting in a new high. And whenever you do that, what the market does is going into FOMO, because a lot of people won't be attracted to any asset when they are undervalued, and when they are going up, not to this direction like FOMOing, they can't actually stop themselves. They all jump back in. Right now, the MACD is crossing higher, all the indicators are bullish, but not everyone want to enter. Fine. But when you actually observe breakouts and momentum coming in, you should be observing the price properly, because say you have highly correlated assets, and if you are in those assets, make sure you understand one of them breaking out higher gives you an understanding that the other one is going to follow. Now, if you are trading with 5-10 assets, you want to be in different correlation sets. Meaning one XRP, XLM highly correlated, you can go to another group which is not that highly correlated. Or else you can focus one on the payment sector, another one on the smart contract sector. You can divide your portfolio based on the utilities or what target market you're looking at, how much capital is going to move into that market. This is how you actually think about investments. Not like, okay, which one is going to be the biggest gainers? Because if you can neglect the losers, now you can make way above the average. The average the market did in the last cycle was not bad. If you are going to look at the altcoin market right now, and you take a measurement of what the altcoin market in general did, and ask that question, okay, that was a 30x in the market. And if you were there all the way from March 2020, you got this one. Now, imagine you were not there then, you came into the market like Jan, Feb last year, the market did a 3 to 4x. Now, a lot of human beings have to ask this question to themselves. When the market did 3 to 4x, how much did your portfolio do? Now, if you were on the right assets, you would have seen 4, 5, 6, or even 10x. A lot of people were able to see that. Now, if you take the profits, now that's a realized profit. Now, if you think that's wave one and you're doubling down on the market, taking a little bit of profit, trying to buy back lower, building your portfolio, that's completely fine. The same structure is going to play out in wave two. And when this same structure is playing out, I'm not saying we are going to do 400x. I'm saying we're going to do something way better, bigger than wave one. Imagine here in wave one, you did like 6x and you did 400x in wave two and wave three combined. So if you take just wave two, you're like 10 times the wave one. So take that into the perspective. You are looking for like 300x. Give or take it out. Be conservative, say 100x. Is that small? No. If you even consider like a 50x from the bottom, right now you have opportunity to make that. Now, a lot of people will definitely ask this question to yourself, are you nuts? Fine, maybe I am. But in a year to two, when we pass this opportunity, you come back to look at this and ask that question to yourself, were you really right or were you really wrong? Because if you are wrong and you only did 5x, you still get 5x. And if you are right and the market does 100x, you may be even able to get 25 to 50x. Now, most of them have trouble waiting. So when your portfolio is doing 10x, 15x, 20x, most of them are out. But if you have a proper strategy to move out, scale out, reduce your exposure as the market goes higher, the downside increases, right? It goes higher, downside increases. So if you plan that properly, you may even get 50, 70x. Now trying to get that actual 100x is going to be really nuts and hard unless you are a bot or an algorithm creator. But what you want is not to get the max profits, but to make sure you have profits, because a lot of us did not take enough amount of profits in wave one. But wave two is not that place where you make similar mistake. Wave two is that place where you don't make that mistake and try to take maximum out of the market. So guys, if you want to look at these kind of opportunities, which you are just going to observe in this market in coming weeks and in next few months, make sure you look at the Patreon. The link is given in the description below where we post all these breakouts. Now, before you jump in, let me say one disclosure. I'm always early on the breakout call or the take profit call. So you may miss 10-15% at the top. Like say, last time it was even a little bit bigger for Matic. We started way lower. We entered the market after breakout, fine. But the call to take profit was around 2.2, 2.3. The price went to 2.6. But even if you took that at 2.2, you still made a decent 300, 400x. In that 500x rally, that was great. Now, that always will happen. When I call, you may have a month or a week to prepare because I'm a little bit early. And if you are fine with that, having a little bit more time to understand the market and prepare and position yourself, yeah, that's a right area for you to begin with. So guys, if you are receiving value for your time and if you learned something, please hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't done that already. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.